Plus. Now, we had to wait a few years between the Invincible and the Vomero Plus, but I think it has definitely been worth the wait. So in short, I would describe the Vomero Plus as a replacement to the Invincible, a premium daily trainer, maybe slightly more maximal than the previous Invincible. That is going to be perfect for those long runs and those runs where you want to pick up the pace a little bit towards the end, because of that versatility the Zoom X brings. So in terms of the running that I've done in this shoe so far, straight out of the box I took it for a 16-kilometer run, and I remember averaging 4:24 per kilometer, and that was the first time I thought, wow, this shoe could be something pretty special. It felt really bouncy, my legs felt good and protected the whole way, and my average pace was just a touch faster than my usual easy pace, which usually suggests that a shoe is maybe a little bit more efficient and is offering a little bit more bounce and responsiveness than, say, a more traditional daily trainer would. The second run, 21 kilometers, again at an easy pace, felt brilliant. And then the third run I did was a 34-kilometer long run at the end of a pretty big training week. My legs were tired, dreading going out for the run, to be honest with you, because I already knew that I was carrying a bit of fatigue. But this shoe really came into its own on that 34-kilometer run. I was able to pick up the paces down to a little bit slower than marathon pace, tempo if you like. It's a perfect shoe for starting off nice and easy, protecting the legs, and then being able to push on a little bit towards the end because of that Zoom X midsole that it has. It's one of those shoes that's soft, bouncy, but then when you want to pick up the pace, it can handle it absolutely no problem. So those were the first few runs in it. I've now done 100 kilometers. I think I said 100 miles in the intro. 100 kilometers. Whoops. I've now done 100 kilometers in it, and as you can see, in terms of durability, it's held up pretty well. There's quite a nice amount of coverage on this, and they're calling it a waffle coverage, fairly similar to that was found in the Invincible. You can see the similarities there. Maybe a little bit less coverage, hence why the weight has actually dropped a little bit for me. In my UK size 8, it weighs 273 grams, which I was pretty pleasantly surprised by. I thought it was going to be a little bit heavier. It costs £155, which I think is about right for this shoe. I think Nike could have easily made this a little bit more expensive, because it does offer that sort of premium midsole, the Zoom X. Competitors like the Super Blast at around the £200 price point, but they've managed to keep it a similar price point to the Nike Invincible, which I think is really important for the success of this shoe. So fair play to Nike for keeping that price point. I'm not going to say low, but I'm going to say respectable. In terms of upper, engineered mesh upper, plenty of padding on the tongue and the heel counter, maybe a little bit too much, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, but yeah, a well-rounded max cushion daily trainer that has been superb for the runs I've done in it so far, and it's firmly going to stay in my running shoe rotation in the build-up to the Chicago Marathon. So moving on to some strengths and weaknesses, we'll start with the strength of this shoe, and obvious one being the Zoom X underfoot, 45 millimeters of stack, and because the shoe has that midsole in it that is so versatile, it is one of those shoes that's really fun and enjoyable to run in. I think if you pick up this shoe, you're really going to enjoy it. Another big benefit to this shoe is how protective it is. As I said, at the end of a long week of marathon training, the long run comes around and sometimes my legs are feeling pretty battered, and I look for a shoe that's going to offer that protection from the road, and 45 millimeters of Zoom X in the Vomero Plus is definitely going to tick that box. So that's a big plus point of this one. Another thing I really liked is the nostalgia feel. It does feel very similar to the Nike Invincible, maybe a little bit more max cushions than the Vomero, but I was actually excited to see, I put the two shoes on the scale, that the Vomero Plus, at least in my UK size 8, comes in at 14 grams lighter than the old Invincible, and there's more stack height. So yeah, that's a win. The weight is also pretty respectable for a beefy max cushion daily trainer. Moving on to a couple of weaknesses of this shoe. There isn't many, but I did find a few. One being, for me, there's probably a little bit too much cushioning on the tongue. It almost feels like having a pillow on top of the foot, which I just found was maybe not necessary, but it could have been a little bit thinner and maybe reduced the weight even more, which I personally would prefer over an overly plush tongue that sort of slits around a little bit on the foot. The same could be said for the heel counter. There's quite a lot of cushioning there that maybe could be reduced a little bit. That's very minor. I also found that it does have a 10 millimeter drop, which is a touch aggressive for me personally for a daily trainer. I would more 4-6 millimeter, but again, that's being a little bit picky. I just find it pushing me up with my toes a little bit too much, which sometimes can load my quads more than sort of other muscles, and I just find that an easy run where I prefer a shoe that's a I found on my first run is I got a little bit of a blister on my little toe, which I think could be linked to the positioning of this reflective element here. I did find after the first run that wasn't a problem anymore, so maybe it's just a breaking in thing. You can feel it a little bit on the inside of the shoe, which could potentially cause some discomfort, but again, I found after the second, third, fourth run I wasn't feeling any hot spots on that little toe anymore, so it was a dislike at the start. I think it's something that broke in eventually, and yeah, that is it really in terms of dislikes. So where does this shoe sort of fit into my rotation, and what are the other competitors on the market that it links to? The first shoe that sort of came to mind was this one from Brooks, which is the Hyperion Max. Similar properties in the fact that it has plenty of cushioning, lots of protection from the road. The benefits maybe of the Hyperion Max over the Vomero is it's a little bit more stable, offers a slightly wider fit than the Vomero, but that being said, it is a lot heavier. I think it's about 40 grams heavier than the Vomero. One to consider if you're looking for another max cushion shoe. And then you've got the GOAT of running shoes, in my opinion, the Asics Super Blast. This is the Super Blast 2. In terms of weight, very, very similar. In terms of where they sit into my running shoe rotation, for those long runs where I want to pick up the pace, they sit in a very similar position. The Asics does cost a little bit more. This costs £200, so that's £45 more expensive than a Vomero Plus. However, I would say this shoe is suited a little bit more towards performance. This is a shoe that feels more comfortable at marathon pace than, say, the Vomero. Maybe not as protective as, say, the Vomero, that's got a soft, bouncy midsole. The Super Blast is a little bit more direct. Not firm, but it can handle the faster paces a little bit more. So maybe if you're looking for something for the long runs where you want to go a little bit faster, then the Super Blast is probably a better option than the Vomero, but it is going to cost you an extra 45 quid. So that pretty much concludes my review of the Nike Vomero after 100 kilometers. I'd recommend this shoe to somebody looking for a daily trainer that could also go long, that's going to be mainly used for easy miles, but again can push the pace a little bit towards the end, an up-tempo finishing shoe if you like. I'd also recommend it to somebody looking for a replacement to the Invincible. I think if you enjoyed the Nike Invincible lineup, you're really going to like the direction they've taken the Vomero Plus. A long run shoe that's going to eat up the miles in terms of cushioning, comfort and the ability to pick up the pace. So yeah, very impressed with the Nike Vomero Plus. I think, as I said in the intro, Nike needed this shoe in their lineup. In terms of their daily trainers, they've maybe been left a little bit behind in recent years, but I think the Vomero Plus, for me, puts them right back up there. Excited to hear your thoughts on this one. Let me know in the comments if you've got yourself a pair of the Vomero Plus. How are you using it? Are you enjoying it? But until next time, aspire to run, run to inspire. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you for Meryl.
Get ready for the next battle.
Ain't no mess. What the f is this? Please. To the right, to the right. Left side to the right. Right. Round, round, round. Cross.
Get ready for the next battle.
Jojo Lee.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight. Round 4. Fight. You lose.
Nada supera la mezcla de Azucena.
Creepy.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. No. Round 3. Fight. Fight.
¡Te expusiste! ¿Amargo?
You win.
話にならんだ。
Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight.
Uh,
Round three. Fight.
you do all that, yes, mom, so keep on that.
Round four. Fight. Final round. Fight.
아, 시간이네요.
You lose. Get ready for the next battle.
오케이. Moon. Radio and the radio and the radio and the radio. The secret red, oh red, your head.
So I thought that the Nike Vomero 18 was amazing, but they just one-up themselves with the Plus model. These are fantastic. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a detailed look and review on these bad boys right here. This is the Nike Vomero Plus. This is essentially the Nike Vomero 18, but the next model. There's going to be one more that's called the Premium. Those things look insane, so I can't wait to try those. However, we got to wait till like October. These guys release pretty soon, early August. So we're talking about them right now. They come in a regular Nike orange box, so just a performance box. And I, much like the last ones, really just wear these for our walks and stuff. So we walk almost 5 miles a day. And this is something that I've come to enjoy. I used to loathe it, but now I really do enjoy it. Today, actually, I stepped things up a little bit. I put on a 15-pound weight vest. That was pretty crazy. I was like, oh yeah, this is light work. This is nothing. And then by the end of the walk, I was like, back, shoulders, everything. Like I was like, I felt it all but my shoes didn't. So these are fantastic, man. Like this is awesome. However, if you wanted a right perspective performance review, make sure that you head over to WearTesters.com where we've got you covered. But for here, this is just, I'm just walking in them. I'm not casually walking. We're walking fast. I'm just saying we're not like we're running. However, they do make me feel like I want to run. And on top of that, you had said that like our speed was like crazy increased.
This guy's on crack.
Not on purpose. I didn't feel like I was walking faster. But like for whatever reason, these like propel you. It's such a weird but amazing feel. So some of the B-roll you're gonna see of the shoe is gonna be of them brand new. I did some B-roll before I started walking in them, and I'm glad that I did because I was able to see a little bit of wear and tear on the outsoles, which is kind of weird because I've only been wearing these for like a week, like every day for a week, but still. And it's only been for walking, so that's one of the things where durability on the outsole might be a concern for some, but it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But either way, the outsole feels like it has a lot more rubber than the previous model or the previous version of the Vomero 18. This one's got more rubber everywhere, you know what I mean? However, the forefoot area where some of these lugs had some of those like little like nubs, like the little dots and stuff where they drew into the waffle outsole, those are already gone, and this is only with, like I said, like a week's worth of like daily walking. So if you're running and you're really like hitting the pavement, it might burn through the rubber pretty quickly. It's very thin, not super durable, all that stuff. So if I'm already seeing like wear and tear with walks, I can only imagine the amount of beating that this outsole is going to take with running. But if you run on like a treadmill or you run indoors, like one of our new facilities here in the area has an indoor track and everything like that, which is really, really cool. But if you are one of those people, you'll probably be fine. Now, despite having all that extra rubber, the shoe itself feels incredibly lighter than the previous model, the
On today's episode of the Fresh Brew Run Club, it is my 175-mile review of the Nike Vomero Plus. Welcome to the Fresh Brew Run Club. My name is Aaron, and today we have another shoe review. It's been a busy summer. I have not made quite as many videos as I would have liked over the past couple of months, but here we are with a fresh brew shoe review for you. Didn't mean to rhyme that. But anyway, today I have my 175-mile review of the Nike Vomero Plus. So I made an initial review of this shoe, but I think the best way to give a proper, full, comprehensive review is to run at least 100 miles. I got 175 miles in this shoe, so I'm excited to talk about my thoughts about the Vomero Plus. So if you're not familiar with the Vomero Plus, the Vomero line is Nike's cushioned daily trainer line of shoes. There's the Vomero 18, which I made a bunch of videos about. I bought 2 pairs of them. I thought they're a great shoe. There's the Vomero Plus, which is like a little more cushioning than the initial Vomero. It's all ZoomX foam. It is a real max cushion shoe. I don't think the 18 is a max cushion shoe. I think the Vomero Plus is a true max cushion shoe. And then we have the Vomero Premium, which comes out in a couple weeks. I think it's actually supposed to show up to my door today or tomorrow, so I'll do a review about that once I get it. But anyway, we're going to focus on the Plus today. It's a max cushion shoe. It's a true max cushion shoe. One of the things I wanted to answer in the original video about the shoe was, is it a successor to the Invincible line? Absolutely it is. It's the Invincible 4. Let's just be honest. There are some differences between the previous Invincible line and the current Vomero Plus, but if you liked the Invincibles, you're really going to like the Vomero Plus. This is an easy run shoe. It's a recovery shoe. It can get some daily miles in. It can get a little bit of speed. I think the ZoomX foam is light enough where it's not going to feel too bulky if you want to pick up the pace just a little bit. It's not like a speed workout shoe by any means, but it can get a little bit of speed thanks to that wonderful ZoomX foam in the midsole. So let's talk about the fit of this shoe. I'm a size 10. I got a size 10. I would say this shoe is true to size with a little bit of room in the toe box area. I would not get a size down. I think that would probably be too tight of a fit around my foot, so I would recommend getting true to size. I didn't have any issues with like the heel lock, the way that the shoe locks around my heel. There were many problems with the Invincible 3s. People really did not like that shoe because it kind of slipped off your heel unless you did a runner's knot. No issues here. The heel area is very well padded. The lockdown is great, so you're not going to have any issues with the fit of the shoe. So let's talk versatility. I touched on this a little bit before. After running 175 miles in this shoe, I would say it is somewhat versatile. Again, it skews more towards the slower, easy run side of things, of the speed spectrum, but you can get a little speed if you want. I would just be very...
Exfoliation for eczema.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tammy Chan. I'm a board-certified medical aesthetics specialist, and I want to talk to you today about a new product we have. This product is
product. Jesus.
What's up, my friends? Welcome to another video. I'm Rob Stewart, and I'm here to help you get your skin and your overall health back on track. In today's video, I'm going to be covering the basics of exfoliation and moisturization. Now, this is a key skincare routine for those of you who are suffering from skin disease and who are trying to use natural, holistic methods to heal yourself. In today's video, I'm going to be doing 3 things. I'm going to be giving you guys the 3 easiest.
Now we know about exfoliating the skin on our face. How about the body? Does it require exfoliation? It is good for the skin on your body so that renewal of your skin can be quicker. However, we have seen gloves like these being sold online. An occasional usage of the gloves is fine. Once a week, once a month is fine. But sometimes, because the gloves are pretty rough and pretty coarse, if you overuse it or you apply too much strength, it can cause the same micro tears on your skin, which will lead to infection, whether it's due to bacteria or fungus, or at the same time cause injury to your skin. Now we know about
Dr. Inky.
see all these things online about exfoliating, how it's great for your skin, but be cautious if you have eczema. See all these things online about exfoliating, how it's great for your skin, but be cautious if you have eczema. See all these things online about exfoliating.
Round 3. Fight.
The backbreaker.
Round 4. Fight. Final round. Fight.
Fuck. Ah, fuck.
You lose.
If you have eczema like this, stop what you're doing. You need to know this. I was born with eczema, and for most of my life, I thought the only way to help it was through steroid creams. Although I realized it only made my skin's barrier thinner and gave me a temporary fix. I can't lie, I felt hopeless. A few years ago, I stopped using steroid treatments and tried everything I could to fix it. From DIY home remedies to changing my diet, nothing really worked. My eczema was still there. I started seeing this exfoliating glove everywhere and gave it a try as my last resort. One for the face and one for the body. At first, I didn't see many results, but after a few months of use, I noticed my eczema flare-ups went away. That's when I learned that the buildup of dead skin can actually trigger eczema. I stopped exfoliating one arm and continued to exfoliate the other. As you can see, the non-exfoliated arm is about to experience a flare. So trust me, if you have eczema like myself, you need to try this. Don't make my same mistake. Let me know if this works for you too. If you have eczema like this, stop what you're doing. You need to know this. I was born with eczema, and for most of my life, I thought the only way to help it was through steroid creams. Although I realized it only made my skin's barrier thinner and gave me a temporary fix. I can't lie, I felt hopeless. A few years ago, I stopped using steroid treatments and tried everything I could to fix it. From DIY home remedies to changing my diet, nothing really worked. My eczema was still there. I started seeing this exfoliating glove everywhere and gave it a try as my last resort. One for the face and one for the body. At first, I didn't see many results, but after a few months of use, I noticed my eczema flare-ups went away. That's when I learned that the buildup of dead skin can actually trigger eczema. I stopped exfoliating one arm and continued to exfoliate the other. As you can see, the non-exfoliated arm is about to experience a flare. So trust me, if you have eczema like myself, you need to try this. Don't make my same mistake. Let me know if this works for you too. If you have eczema like this, stop what you're doing. You need to know this. I was born with eczema, and for most of my life, I thought the only way to help it was through steroid creams. Although I realized it only made my skin's barrier thinner and gave me a temporary fix. I can't lie, I felt hopeless. A few years ago, I stopped using steroid treatments and I can't lie. If you're skin feels tight and dry after washing, this could be the reason. I am Dr. Lily, I'm a doctor, and I have eczema and very sensitive skin. And this could be the reason why your skin feels very tight and dry after you come out of the shower. Number one, you might be using the wrong body wash. If you're using body washes that are not specifically designed for sensitive skin and they have used harsh ingredients in them, they will strip away the natural oils from the skin barrier, leaving your skin feeling very tight and dry. Number two, the body wash might not contain specific ingredients that draw moisture into the skin and actually also prevent transepidermal water loss, so preventing water loss and moisture loss from the skin. And these are ingredients like glycerin. They are brilliant at keeping the moisture in the skin. Number three is washing your skin with hot water. So hot water is never good if you've got a skin condition like eczema or dermatitis or psoriasis. And the reason for this is the hot water heats up the skin, and so when you come out of the shower or the bath, your skin is hot, and so the moisture is going to evaporate from the skin, and that will leave your skin feeling very dry and tight. You want to reduce the temperature on the shower to a warmer temperature, and that will be sufficient for your skin. Number four is not moisturizing quickly enough after you get out of the shower or the bath, and that is really important because we need that moisturizer onto our skin to prevent it from getting tight and dry. So we give ourselves a 3-minute window to come out of the shower or the bath and the moisturizer onto the skin. So if you have dry, eczema-prone skin, what do you do when you get out of the shower or the bath in order to prevent your skin from becoming very tight and very dry?
Peoples with eczema, have you tried exfoliation? If you have eczema, it might be worth considering manual exfoliation, and I mean manual as in like maybe manual's not the right word, maybe physical exfoliation is the right word here. And I used to do this, I started doing this like a couple years ago, and I just use a t-shirt, like I use like a black t-shirt or a dark t-shirt, and I just rub it on my skin, and then if you look at the t-shirt afterwards, you realize it's just like white, but essentially it's just skin. The black t-shirt will turn white essentially with like skin particles or whatever, but I thought that's quite good because then I'd moisturize after and I'd feel like everything gets in there a bit better. Recently I bought an exfoliating mitt, and I was very dubious about ordering this at first because I've used like those scrubs before, and I don't think those scrubs are good. I think they're too abrasive, so I thought, how abrasive is this mitt going to be? But when it arrived, it actually wasn't that bad. It was like, it was textured, but it wasn't like sandpaper or nothing, and I've been using that recently, and I just think it's been really good. So if you do have eczema, try exfoliating. But what I would say is if your eczema's flaring, so if you've got like atopic dermatitis and your eczema's like flaring, like don't exfoliate. Like you need to wait until it recovers and then gently do it. Like I've been doing it daily, but very, very gently, like not harsh at all. Just literally rubbing it across my skin. Whatever comes off, comes off. And then I just follow my usual sort of creaming protocol. And then I've found that my skin's just been doing really good. So whether that's is working for a while and it's eventually
What God would help me? If the angels came for me, I'd tell them so. My skin used to have lots of tiny bumps and rough texture. But one thing that helped transform my skin in my mid-30s was exfoliation. I'm a dermatologist, and let me show you 3 ways to exfoliate for more even, glowing skin. It's a myth that you can't exfoliate if you have sensitive skin. Try a gentle essay cleanser. And for the best results, you want to lather for an entire minute before rinsing off. Another simple way to achieve brighter, smoother skin is to use a leave-on exfoliant. Just pour on a cotton pad and
How to exfoliate for eczema.
How to exfoliate for eczema.